Hello, my loves. Your favorite fabulous fairy Shayna here, and today we're going to go over 3 books that are of the occult variety that I have read recently that I'd like to share with you. The first is Moon Magic by Diane Elixirs, and I actually found this book at the Five Below. And you're thinking, the Five Below? Yeah, well, books don't lose value just because where they go, So I was really excited to pick this up. I didn't know if it was going to be any good or not, but the fact it was nice and thick, it was only $5. I'm a sucker for a good book. I figured, you know what, no matter what, even if it's just got basic information, I'm really going to enjoy this. So it starts off with acknowledgments and going over basically what are the phases of the moon. What are the phases of the moon? How do they affect you? And what are they known for mostly? So like, what does it look like when it's a new moon? What does it look like when it's waxing or waning? Some people know this, some people don't. So if you've been practicing magic for a really long time, you probably know all of this. But if you're somebody who's new to the realm, or you're trying to dive in and maybe you're like, I really have a connection to the moon. I don't necessarily want to sign myself over to a deity, but I do know that I have, pardon my phone going off, I do know that I have a connection to something and I'd like to explore that a little bit more. Getting started with the moon is a really good place to start because the moon does affect us all. Every creature on the earth, including the oceans, are affected by the moon. Getting to know the moon a little bit better then sounds like a kind of a good idea. So it talks about ancient beliefs about the moon. This goes into everything from, money and when you're going to plant your fields to when women and children can be created versus recreated. When you're going to reproduce and procreate versus when you're going to wean a child off. Things about women's, my goodness, I'm so sorry, you guys. Things about women's, time of the month and stuff like that come in here. So it also talks about using the moon for evil versus using it for good. The moon on Christmas and other different holidays. The moon as a female and the moon as a male, because a lot of people don't think of the moon as having a male attribute. They only think of it as the female, the triple goddess, and things like that, when in fact it does have the male aspect as well. So it talks about that and how does that affect us. A little OSHA root water. So one thing that it said in this book that I hadn't ever really considered beforehand, but I really enjoyed, was the fact that people who are affected by the moon are affected by things that mimic the moon. So if you're somebody who has trouble sleeping because you're really energetic during a full moon and your mind is really wide awake and you're constantly thinking about what your next move is going to be, then sleeping with your phone near you or with a TV on, that's going to basically trigger that same part in your brain to say it's a full moon, and you're not going to get any sleep. You're going to be wild and like, oh my God, I just got so much going on in my head. So this talks about if you're somebody who the moon is going to affect in a positive way or a negative way. Because some people, when the moon's out, they are fully charged, they're ready to go, life's never been better, they have all this energy and all these creative ideas. And sometimes that same person, or not that same person, but another person might go through the same exact moon cycle and they're fumble, fart, and fall on everything. They are tired. They can't keep their things together. They're being angry all the time or just sluggish, and they just feel like crap, right? So this book talks about what the lunar effects are, if they're positive lunar effects or if they're negative lunar effects, and different things that you could do to help mimic positive behavior during the parts of the moon that might be negative for you, and different things that you could do, different stones you could wear, different things that you could try to help balance your mind and get yourself in the set that, okay, I'm gonna sleep tonight, and yeah, it's a full moon outside, but I found out if I put out, super thick blackout curtains and I don't have my phone in my room, so that the blue light doesn't bug me, that I actually am going to sleep all the way through the night. And tomorrow I'm going to wake up feeling super rested and super, ready for my day. And that's great because I have a giant business meeting tomorrow, right? Those are things that you're going to want to find out. It also talks about fertility in men and in women and how the moon can affect that. It talks about our third eye and our chakras and what the moon can do to activate those, to affect those, to charge those. What in the beep though? I feel like no one writes me, and then I go on live, and then everybody and their mom is just like talking to me nonstop. Okay, I think I have it all off. There we go. All right. It talks about meditation, how to meditate, different things like that. A lot of people don't know how to meditate. So if you're new at all to magic and you're like, okay, I need to know a lot, this is a really good beginner book. And it's not just going to cover the moon, although it's mostly talking about the moon. It covers a lot of other things too. I mean, not fully, but it touches a lot of bases. Now, as far as what kind of magic does it have? So it has everyday moon magic, right? This has things like meeting a new partner, okay? New beginnings, business, different meditations, different kinds of scrying, different kinds of way interpreting things, using water for magic, different symbols. It goes through so much. It's really, really, really kind of a all-around book. I also like it has what your birthday falls on. So you not only know, okay, I'm the year of the dragon. Well, what kind of dragon am I? Well, it turns out I'm an earth dragon. I found out because of this book. Because there's different things that play into who we are. And if I'm an earth dragon, maybe that's why I'm so good at gardening and at oils and herbs and all that. That could definitely be part of that. It tells you how to set up an altar, the different colors and what they're associated with. Like, I mean, this is much more than just a moon book. They really went out of their way to cover so much in here. I was really happy about that. They also have cute little food that you can do. So they've got vegetarian tacos. They have breakfasts. They've got soups. They've got drinks, moontinis, lunar punch for the full moon bunch, a moon colada, Moony Mary for the lazy loner. They've got all these cute little things. So as you're doing your ritual, you could have a food designed to go with your ritual. You could have a beverage designed to go with your ritual. And you can learn from the ground up what it's like to build your own ritual using this book. So I really, really like it. So look for it. They probably have it on Amazon. I found it at Five Below. Okay, so the next one is from Sherilyn Darcy, and this is the Book of Fairy Spells. Now, I basically bought this off of a picture on Amazon. Not Amazon, pardon me, Instagram. One of my friends owns the Clovis Open Eye, and he always is posting different things, and he had this book in his collection. And I was like, you know what? I'm the Fairy Shayna. It's in purple, my color, and I wear this exact color purple all the freaking time. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm going to go ahead and get it and see what it's about. And I didn't know. I kind of thought maybe it'd be a little kiddish, things like that. But I was ready to see what it was about. My favorite thing about this book, other than the illustrations, which the illustrations are just phenomenal, is that it warns you not to mess with fairies. One of the very first things it tells you is you probably don't want to fuck with fairies, and that you probably shouldn't mess with them, and that you probably shouldn't try to work with them unless you're willing to take it seriously, and unless you're willing to come with respect, and unless you're really willing to be aware of what you're doing, what you're asking, who you're talking to, and how. A lot of people don't ever talk about the negative side of a fairy. And actually, me as a child, I was one of the few people that anybody ever heard talk about bad fairies. I have seen and worked with fairies since I was very young. Believe me, don't believe me, whatever. But it's my truth. I was telling the adults at Just Friends Tea Parlor about how they've got a bad fairy in their tree. They're like, well, we love fairies. And I'm like, yeah, but you have a red and black fairy. And I went on this whole thing about how it was a negative fairy and it was going to cause a bunch of problems and whatever. And they looked at me like all crazy. And my mom thought, oh, Shayna's got a wild imagination. But then the adults ended up saying, we keep seeing this red and black flickering light up in that tree, and we can't tell what it is, and things have been going awry around here. So my mom's like, what the heck kind of reality are we in? Meanwhile, it was just the truth that I already knew. You don't mess with red and black fairies. They're not the good ones. This will tell you that there are good fairies and there are bad fairies. Now, this book doesn't go into what the bad fairies look like or what the bad fairies do or require or anything like that. And they explain to you the reason they don't is because even bringing them up in such a way could cause them to show up That's true. Fairies are very cool, but they also have the ability to not be, if you know what I mean. A lot of people aren't going to say, oh, don't work with a fairy because it's going to, you know, something bad might happen. You never tell a fairy please. You never tell a fairy thank you. You never say excuse me. You say pardon me, if anything. You never say I'm sorry. You never ask for help. You always make an offering. You never receive an offering. Okay? And these are like really drawn in the sand hard line rules. Like you cannot cross these because some things will happen. What per se? That's up to them. I just know it's some things that you don't do. And this book actually talks about that. It actually talks about, you know, don't say these things. If you're going to speak to them, you speak to them in a way that we're doing this together as a partnership. We're not, you know, I don't owe you anything. You're helping me because you want to help me, not because I'm begging you for. And being really serious about if you say you're going to leave a piece of cake or something, leave that piece of cake. No one's saying it has to be a big slice. It could be a little chunk, you know. But if you say you're going to leave us something or plant a flower in their name or not trim a bush or not cut a flower down or something, then you really have to hold true to what you said because they will hold you true to that. So if you don't keep good on your word, they're going to make sure that you do. So I really enjoyed how they went into that. Now, as far as the spells and stuff in here, it does tell you how to call in fairies. It does tell you how to call in like kind of open your mind a little bit so that it's easier to see them. Because some people are going to be naturally gifted to see them, just like some people are naturally gifted to sing. Some are naturally gifted to run or to cook or to, you know, they're super gifted in sports or they can build you anything you can think of. We all have our different gifts and talents. But the same is to be said that you might not ever be, you know, the Sammy Sosa, you know, guy. You can be good too. You can have fun too. You can get in there too. You can play ball too. You can. But it does take practice and it does take a little bit of dedication. So if you don't feel that you've connected with them on the first time, don't be discouraged. That's very common that they're there. They're just not allowing you to see their presence yet because they're trying to figure out, okay, well, what does this person actually want from us right now? And what kind of friendship are we going to be in? A cute thing that I really loved about this is this person has made the cutest little spells and also the sweetest little like this one is, where is it? Little pet saver one. Yeah, a pet healing spell. So it's got a cute little pet healing spell in there. And as somebody who's used magic to heal my own pets and to make them live kind of longer than they should have, but in health, you know, that's the whole thing. No one wants a pet cemetery situation going on. You want your animal healthy and alive and by your side. You know what I mean? You don't want it half dead coming at you. That's horrible. But I do believe that pet healing spells totally work, and I do believe I would have lost my boxer probably 3-4 years sooner than I had if I had not done the healing spell. It was not this healing spell, but the fact that she has one in here, I feel like it would be very, very helpful to anybody who's going through a hard time who really loves their little fur baby, because you sometimes that helplessness of being like, there's nothing I can do is the worst feeling ever. And sometimes taking some control into your own hands and calling on a higher force or a guardian or a fairy spirit to come assist you in healing somebody that you love, that at least brings you comfort, because then at least you're not just sitting there. You've got something going on a little bit and you feel a little bit more hands-on, you know. So I really enjoy that. It's got a fairy dream banishing nightmare spell. I can't tell you how many people go through nightmares. I can't tell you how many children go through night terrors, and how many mothers I've had to tell about putting rosemary in the foot of their bed and stuff like that to try to get their kid to be able to sleep without the boogeyman coming to bug them. As somebody who had the boogeyman coming to bug them most of their life, until he decided to take charge and finally tell it to beep out, you know, once and for all. I know that those things are out there, and there's nothing worse than being a little kid and being terrified of your parent leaving the room, because you know that as soon as that door is closed, those covers are going to start to be pulled off of you, and that thing from under your bed is going to grab your ankle, or it's going to sit on your bed, or it's going to start talking to you or tapping something or pulling your hair from the headboard or, whatever is going to go on. And then your parents don't believe you. And they tell you, oh, you got your hair caught on something. Oh, you kicked your covers off. Oh, you probably scratched yourself. You got to clip your toenails or whatever it is. There's nothing worse than that feeling. So the fact that it has a little bit of a, here, try this. I really enjoy that. Instinctually, I think when we think of fairies, we think of children. And so somebody might be tempted to give this book to a child. I would say if you did, totally go over the rules multiple times on how to speak to fairies and what the do's and don'ts are. If you could truly trust your child and they're a very smart child and you believe them that they say, they're not going to say please or thank you and they're not going to ask for help and things like that. And they're never going to eat anything that the fairy leaves them. They're never going to follow them into a briar or anything weird like that. Because, missing 411, we don't need more of those people, right? Then this would be a good book. Other than that, I would say adults only, but I think adults only really should practice magic, or at least until you've got that adult kind of frame of mind. I like this. She's got elixirs. A spell for youth, right? The Sadie Elixir of Youth spell. I really love it. So this is actually going to be something that you're applying to your face. And then she's got ones I think that there's a ginger face sugar scrub in here. There's a hair repair. There's a remove negativity, divination, dandelion seed wish, thunder fairy, all these cute little things. How to create your own fairy spells. Then it tells you how to do it your own and the different colors associated with the different things. It talks about a lot of the different flowers that are associated with different fairies. Anyways, 5 out of 5. Really like this. This is a really good book. The illustrations are awesome. It feels great. I'm glad that it has the cautionary tale in there because so many people never tell you the cautionary tale. They only go, oh, Tinkerbell, magic, fun. And it's like, yeah, that, but also not that. You know what I mean? You're dealing with something that's older than you by so much, like we're toys compared to them. They live forever. We're here for a moment. We're the same as them getting like a Japanese chin as a pet. They think it's cute. They play with it a little. They feed it a little. It dies. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not saying that happens. You get what I'm saying. Anyways, okay. So last one, The Art of Psychic Protection. So this one is Judy Hall, I believe. Yeah. So that's her on the back. This book is pretty good. I am not all the way through this yet. I'm about halfway, but what I have read has been really enlightening. So this is not a book that you're going to find pictures. This is just a textbook. I think it has like one picture of what an aura looks like and one picture of like an Eye of Horus or something. But really this is just like a textbook kind of thing. So I didn't know what to expect when I bought this. I know that I do my own forms of psychic protection, but I've gone to the point where I know myself on what I can do just within me already, right? So I know what I already know, but that doesn't mean that I can't get better and stronger and do more, right? So that's where reading about other people's magic comes in. And that's where I'm like, okay, I'm going to put my ego aside. I'm going to put my pride aside, which is what was holding me back from learning about other people's magic in the past. And I'm going to start picking up other books. So I got this book about a year ago and I read a lot. So I've been bouncing around. That's why this one isn't finished yet. But when I finally picked this up again this month and I started reading it and I'm like, okay, this is really, really good because this person talks about how they weren't even sure that they had a psychic problem or that a spiritual attack for a really long time. They were just going through the motions feeling like their life was shit and they didn't know why. And then all of a sudden clarity comes around. It's all brought to a moment, a place and time. They have their aha moment that like, oh my goodness, I know that I'm being attacked spiritually and psychically. They go to Egypt, they see a statue. The statue completely changes everything about them. And all of a sudden they know, okay, there's this chaos in my life, but I can change it. Now, what I like about this book is she does suggest oils that you can wear, flowers and herbs that you can use, and certain stones that can help you. They can help you with meditating and putting up psychic shields. This book is predominantly about using your mind and meditating and getting that psychic aura around you so that at no point in time can somebody come and penetrate and hurt you. At no point in time can somebody come and put energy on you or take energy from you. Now, she does use herbs. She does use oils. She does suggest flowers. She does suggest stones. Do you have to have these on you at all times? No, you don't. Because once you put that protection up, now you've attuned yourself with that field, and now you can call upon it at any point in time. And some of these fields are like a shell of an egg. They're on there, they're on there. You know what I mean? No one's getting through that thing. It's not cracking. It's solidly on there, right? But you're going to have to attune yourself in the beginning. So you are going to have to pick up some things. Now, maybe you don't need the oils to help you. Maybe you can visualize it all without putting your mind in that altered state. Maybe you don't need the stones. Maybe you're just really, really good, like I said, at visualizing, and you can just do it. Then just do it. Then that's fine too. But the cool thing is that she does suggest what she used to help break those barriers for herself and help to not only open herself up, but shut herself down. Because this is the other thing. We talk about meditating all the time. How many times do you hear people say, oh, you got to open up the lotus and this and that? Okay, cool. But then what? Is it just open forever? Do we ever shut it down? Like, is it just like an open vessel that things can come and go freely forever then? Because that doesn't seem right, and it's not right. So this tells us how to protect ourselves, shutting down those chakras and closing down those portals after we open them and use them for what we needed to, containing what we need, and closing them off for our protection. So this is a really good book. I'm excited to see what the rest of, oh, there is one picture. I opened it up to like the one picture. I'm excited to see what the rest of it has to hold. Really good book so far though, but I highly suggest. So these are my 3 picks for right now. Psychic Protection by Judy Hall. Sherilyn Darcy, The Fairy Spells. And then Diane Elixirs, and that's Moon Magic. So check them out, look them up, go find them. This one can be found at the Clovis Open Eye. This one can be found at the Clovis Open Eye, and this one can be found at Five Below. You could probably find all of them on Amazon. If I had to guess, I do not know. All right. Thank you for being here. Love you. Bye.